B.J. Surhoff. There's something about that. Like a totally pedestrian player, but that name.
Ooh.
I know.
Totally pedestrian. Stugotz. Look up the B.J. Surhoff year.
What about him?
Look up the year.
Oh, the B.J. year? I'll check it out. Hold on.
Did he have an Aurelia year? He didn't have a Brady Anderson year.
No one had the Brady Anderson year. No one in the history of baseball has had that year.
Called the Brady Anderson year for a reason.
Well, but you just called it the Rich Aurelia year. You just called it the Rich Aurelia year, which is the 37-homer year.
Yeah, but everybody that has a 10-year-plus MLB career has the year.
Yeah.
But they don't quite have the Brady Anderson year.
No.
That's a different level.
That's a year for the ages.
Yeah, the Brady Anderson year should go into the Hall of Fame. Not Brady Anderson, just the year. Like quotes around it.
Put it on the poll,
Anderson
Guillermo.
year.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Should the Brady Anderson year go in the Hall of Fame?
Mike, you're talking about the 28-homer, 107 RBI year for B.J. Surhoff?
All-Star season?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
34 years of age in 1999. Wonder what was going on there.
I want to do that one day, like have a top 10 ranking of funniest names, just comedic names from baseball players in the 90s.
I don't know why, but I feel the need to protect B.J. Surhoff from this accusation because that's not the body type, man. It's just not. B.J. Surhoff, he had a sweet swing, and I will not abide by you trying to taint his achievements.
We haven't learned by now with like the full gamut between D. Gordon and Manny Ramirez that the body type thing is not how you judge this stuff.
He's B.J. Surhoff. He's a man of integrity.
12 years into his career, became an all-star.
You don't get there. Well, you probably do. I was going to say you don't get to 12 years tenure on your major league career by cutting corners, but you might.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. He's B.J. Surhoff, man of integrity. Yes or no? At LeBatard Show. I might be, and this is premature. It's a very small sample, obviously, but I may already be regretting my feud with Philadelphia.
Really?
Well, Embiid and Harden.
Stay strong,
but
Dan.
Embiid and Harden, like if they're healthy, they're going to be really good together. They clubbed your Knicks yesterday. They've got like 60 free throws in the last two games. It's going to be unpleasant to watch, but if I just tell you, hey, you're playing the Sixers, do you have the best player? No. You got a player that might be a problem, one of the few for Bam? Yes. I don't know if he's a problem for Bam, but they've got one of the guys that might be a problem. Bam doesn't have many problems. You saw the stats this weekend where, when Bam's guarding you, guys are 2 for 13 or something, and when anybody else on the Heat is guarding you, it's a lot easier than that.
Listen, beating up on the Knicks is not impressive. They beat Minnesota in that first game. That was impressive. Okay?
The way they're scoring is what I'm looking at. It's two games, and Embiid is saying this is the most wide open I've ever been in my career, and they're putting up offensive numbers. These are the best two games they've had all year, and he just got there.
I understand, Dan, but those guys, both of those guys, are capable of getting injured. It's happened in the past. I think they have no margin for error, that team.
But that can't be your argument on you feel good about beating a team. You hope their guys get injured.
Well, I do think that the Heat, I think top to bottom, the Heat have a better roster than the Sixers. They do.
Agreed, but they have the two best players.
They do. They do.
No, they don't.
Okay,
No.
I mean, we'll see about James Harden. We'll see, right? But the last two games of James Harden,
great.
The last two games of James Harden, that's better than Jimmy Butler. Maybe not defensively. Now, this is another thing because Miami does play well defensively, but now that series gets interesting, though. It's a lot more interesting now than it was when Ben Simmons was sitting.
But, Mike, what's your pecking order of the players in that series?
I would go Embiid number 1. I'd go Butler number 2. I'd go Bam number 3. I'd go James Harden number 4.
Wow.
No, Harden's the second best player in that series. We know when Harden is trying. Because, I don't think we've ever had a more clear distinction of, there's Harden who's trying and there's Harden who's not. And now Harden's trying. And, in Brooklyn last year when he was trying and they were all available, which was, 16 games, they were incredible. I think Harden there's a reason why he's a multiple-time MVP. He's slimmer now. Harden's the second best player in that series.
We're 6 days removed from revisiting the Tyler Hero rumors and being like, oh, thank God we didn't do that. So hyperbolic.
Well,
that's
it's
a
also,
lot of free throws. I don't know if that's
the
going to
other
carry
way though
over.
again. I mean,
I don't know if in the playoffs when the referees once again put a focus on the new free throw rules, if 60 free throws is sustainable.
But Harden, I can understand your point in terms of not wanting to do that because he's forced his way out of 2 cities in 16 months. So I can understand, like, as a franchise proposition, not wanting to be in the James Harden game. However, when available, fit, and caring is the second best, and it might even be the best talent in that series. Although there are certainly plenty of like playoff reasons to not want that in your life, but man.
Oh, it's aesthetically unpleasing. It is, but the stats are crazy. The last two games, Embiid and Harden have almost as many free throws by themselves as like all but a couple of the teams in the league. Because
how do you feel about Maxey? Because like StatMuse is putting Maxey in their big three.
Well, it's just this.
He's playing well,
no, but it's not. It's the game's going to be so easy for him because what I was watching yesterday against the Knicks, and I know it's just the Knicks, but I'm like, oh my God, so many easy baskets. Because you've got to you
well,
can't,
because they're playing the Knicks.
Well,
I mean,
okay, maybe, but they did it to Minnesota too.
They did,
and it's only 2 games, but they're the only 2 I have to work with. And what I'm telling you is that what I'm watching is overwhelming offensively, and I don't know why anybody would even dispute that. Like, it's overwhelming offensively. What I'm looking at is Embiid saying, "Oh my God, I've never been this open," and it's true because you have to work on both of them. And now where Harden had Capella, he's got Embiid. And the baskets were coming very easy for Maxey because I was looking at some still shots, and they're just wide open shots because you got the MVP of the league and a guy who used to be the MVP, and you usually don't have that on the same team. And both of them are in that conversation, and the Heat don't have anybody who's ever been in that conversation.
I just think there's a whole other side of the court too when we're doing the evaluation. If you consider the who's better, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, James Harden debate splitting hairs, then I think you're ignoring an entire side of the basketball court that matters with James Harden. And Bam Adebayo might be the best defender on the planet.
Yep.
And Jimmy Butler is a body that you would throw at James Harden to give him problems. It's not the other way around.
They get the Knicks again on Wednesday. Then it's Cleveland, Miami, Chicago. Like, the schedule gets tougher. So let's see how it looks. You seem scared, though, man.
They're a really good team.
I just saw what they look like offensively the last 2 games. I mean, they haven't looked like that all season. It's not going to be that easy against everybody. And Mike's right. The Heat are an elite defensive team. But I don't know what more you'd want to see in the first 2 games. I don't know what your argument would be other than it's just 2 games and I don't like the opponents. But in the 2 we've seen, holy shit. Now, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but what they did to your Knicks late was impressive to watch.
Yeah, it was. They're a good team, Dan. No one's questioning that. I just want to see more of it. That's all. I want to see them play some really good opponents, and I guess we'll see it over the next 7 to 10 days. But
we'll see stinks as sports radio.
It does. I'm sorry, but here's some advice for you. When you start a beef with a city like Philadelphia, you do not retract from the beef. Okay, you got to stay strong. 2 games in, you started this beef last week.
But I'm doing it comedically,
and you want to abort a week later.
No, I'm not going to abort. I'm going to try and make it more fun.
Good.
I want to feud with this city and this team. This series just got more interesting because Homer Mike is making an appearance.
Well, it's just, look, all the teams are good. I'm saying all these players are good, and I like the Miami Heat's chances right now. We're going to learn a lot about the Miami Heat in this upcoming stretch. A big one at the FTX Arena tonight. I don't think Kyle Lowry is playing against Chicago. You got Chicago, you've got Milwaukee, you've got Brooklyn, and you've got Philadelphia in succession. That's a crazy couple of games here for the Miami Heat.
Stugotz, how did you feel about the Miami Heat Twitter account? This is something I always love. I don't know how you're going to feel about it. The Heat Twitter account sent out, we have now won 9 of 10 against the Knicks and 5 straight. We have not lost to them since January of 2020, for those wondering.
Who was wondering? Honestly. I mean, no one was really wondering. You did it just to tweak a couple of Knicks fans, and it worked.
Did you see what Eric Reed said after the Knicks game? It's like, catch those trains and catch another L. Petty Eric Reed.
Yeah, I will get on my train, where it costs $275 to go anywhere in the city, and I don't have to get behind a car. Or I pay hundreds of dollars in insurance and car payments per month.
That's
and
fine.
$5 for gas.
That's cool.
Per gallon.
Just don't forget to take the L with you.
I'll
while
take
you're
the
doing
L
all
with
that.
me.
All right,
I'll take it on the L train.
Go for it.
That's
kind
in
of
Chicago.
sad that this is
actually.
where the Heat have come to, right?
Yeah, trolling the Knicks.
Trolling the Knicks.
You're better than that.
I know.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Trolling is all that franchise over there in New York has. So forgive me if we want to bask in the glory of beating them 9 out of 10. They talk so much shit.
It's a franchise that's celebrated in the street after winning a playoff game. Like, there's like the whole point of being a Heat fan, at least in part, is trolling the Knicks. Like,
I'm pretty sure
been doing that for 25 years.
It was better than that.
There was a second COVID spike because they won a game against Atlanta. A game.
Why should we be better than that?
It was fun
Billy?
to do it when both teams were good. The Knicks are lousy.
Yeah,
Let me tell you
like,
something. Julius
Garrett.
Randle was being touted as someone who was better than Chris Bosh because he had a season, not unlike B.J. Surhoff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're making him one of the all-time greats. They talk so much shit, and they deserve every single L that is put on them in social media because when they win, they do it louder than anybody else.
Do the Patriots waste their time picking on the Jets? No, because they're that much better than them. If you're that much better than the Knicks, you shouldn't care about beating the Knicks.
Well, you're absolutely right. If it makes you feel any better about it, Billy, I celebrate all wins.
Well, Wes Welker kind of did.
Jesus.
He kind of did with the foot fetish thing. There's Rex Ryan, so he kind of.
Who hasn't had a go at Rex Ryan for that? Yeah. Honestly, like it's not funny anymore. It's feet. It's 2022. Like we moved past that moment.
Oh, a coach embroiled. I will never normalize this. A coach embroiled, a football coach embroiled in a foot fetish scandal.
But it was with his wife. It wasn't even a scandal. Dan, it's 2022. We don't kink shame. We don't
kink
people
shame.
Like feet.
But what if it's Rex Ryan and his fake teeth and the obsession is as benign as it is with feet?
You know what? It's not for me. There's a lot of weirder, worse things going on. Rex Ryan liking feet, it's fine. Yeah. I don't think it's funny anymore. It's just, it is what it is.
When did it stop being funny?
Honestly, like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I saw
right.
so much feet fetish thing in the 2021-2022 football season. Yeah. Like Rex Ryan has already addressed it. I think that was when he took the power away from people.
Well, he makes some jokes on television.
He made jokes about himself, and then other people make the jokes. It's like, oh, well, he's already made fun of himself for this year. So, like, it's not that funny anymore.
But, Jess, are you making a ruling on all foot fetish-related humor going forward? Like, if we find out that, like, Andy Reid's into feet, can we have some fun at that? Or is it just, like, now foot fetish out of the question for laughing
What is
at?
the kink I'm allowed? Andy Reid loves something with donuts. Is that?
What are you doing there?
Am I allowed to?
What are you doing?
Am I allowed? You know what I'm doing. Am I allowed? Am I allowed to?
I mean,
a mini donut on the toe. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if it's among consenting adults, it's none of my business.
Wait a minute. So it's none of your business, but the kink shaming, you're making a ruling that it's allowed. I feel like you're soaked in Food and Wine Festival, and your judgment might still be impaired.
I'm so glad you asked. I had 18 different types of alcohol in 3 hours. I had gin, I had vodka, I had Aperol, I had Prosecco, I had tequila.
That's
I
a
had
dangerous
mezcal.
game.
I had a spiked cold brew, I had an espresso martini, I had 2 margaritas.
Jesus.
Oh my God,
How
Dan.
do you remember everything?
Exactly.
I took pictures of all of it. That's how.
Holy shit.
Spiked cold brew.
Can you drink us all under the table? That sounds like something that would wreck you for today.
It was also like 90 degrees out on the beach. And people got sloppy. Like I told my boyfriend walking in, I'm like, I guarantee you 3 o'clock rolls around, this place is going to clear out because people are going to start dropping like flies. There was, thank God, a Raising Cane's food truck that I think prevented probably 1,000 people from going to the hospital that day. Because when they got really drunk, they just go to the food truck, take like 2 chicken tenders, soak it all up, back into the tent for more alcohol. But I saw a grown man fall off his stool right behind us. No shame. Jimmy Buffett, like Tommy Bahama shirt, fall backwards off his chair. At first I was like, oh my God, he's having a heart. No, he's wasted.
Welcome to Miami.
Thank you.
How did all of that feel? Was it disgusting? Was it wonderful?
Oh my God, it was the best day of my life. Guy Fieri was there. I got my cookbook autographed by Alex Cornishelli. Like, I'm here. Food Network. If I had any other job other than working in sports, it would be Food Network related. I love Food Network. The stars, the lights. Hunter Fieri had his own cooking demo. Hunter. And he has gone full Guy. So he started doing Triple Ds during the pandemic with Guy because they were doing it from home over Zoom. And he is now becoming a star. And he comes out on Guy's stage. He's got tats and he's got an earring. Like, he's turning into Guy Fieri. It's incredible.
There's a faux Fieri running around there?
It's a real Fieri.
It's a real Fieri, but he's doing the whole thing as the other Fieri? Like, is he doing the whole thing?
He is the new Fieri. Like, he is in the successorship line of Triple Ds. Like, if Guy He's on a 3-year, $80 million contract. If they don't renew that in 2 more years, Dan, I think Hunter's going to take over Triple D's. He's got like, Triple D's is in good hands.
Holy shit.
This is like Gallagher too.
But apparently she's saying that she loves him as much. She's not saying that it's Gallagher too, as in a lesser guy who breaks watermelons with a hammer. She's saying he's ready for the throne.
Oh, he's ready. He's great. And Guy made a vat of some type of alcoholic beverage in this massive, like, flame engraved cauldron, and then they passed it around everyone. So I drank that too. I don't know what was in that. What
Are you a
liquor
witch
was in
now?
it.
I think
It was amazing. And then he battered
Was
and
there a
deep fried
bloodletting ceremony?
turkey,
Some eye of
like a
newt.
turkey leg. It was amazing, Dan. I'm going back every year.
Okay. Yes, it is. It is a wonderful thing, and it is very hot. And did you leave on your hands and knees? Because that sounds like a real drinking. That sounds like way too much.
It was great. I mean, I ended up eating. I got like a steak for dinner from like a food truck, and I ended up eating the whole thing with my hands. That was how my night ended. Like in the elevator
That's
of my
how you
apartment
do it.
building.
Yeah. Yes, excellent.
It is a good. I put it on the poll, Guillermo. Have you had a wonderful Sunday when you're eating steak with your bare hands in the elevator on the way to your apartment?
She only eats steak with her bare hands. She's told us before.
That's true, Billy.
I know,
Yes.
but in an elevator, that detail is an especially sad one.
Oh, 2 years ago in the pandemic, I wouldn't take my mask off to like sip a coffee in an elevator. Now I'm just going full in on the steak. Like it's pandemic's over. Like it's steak time.
Would you have had any shame if someone had if the doors had opened?
Someone was there. Yeah, like there was another person there. It wasn't empty. I don't give a shit. I was hungry.
Understood.
Here's a little thing about the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. It's basically just a cocktail party. There's not a whole lot of food. There's little finger foods, but
Right.
like they want you to drink there and have a good time. You're
Just
not gonna-
enough so you don't pass out.
Exactly.
Right.
Like the
Yes.
Raising
Yeah.
Cane's was the most substantial thing there.
Well, I wanted to talk about a couple of Canes-related things because this weekend, Stugotz, I could not believe that the University of Miami basketball team, the way they lost to Virginia Tech, it was flatly stunning. They had 15 steals in the game.
Yeah.
They were up all game, and then they just missed some free throws, and Virginia Tech didn't make any threes all game and then made them at the end. And FSU won a crazy game this weekend as well. Mike Sky Prieto was running around out there with the inbound pass, throwing it to Cleveland with 1 second left to beat Virginia.
It was a great day, Saturday of college basketball. It really was the rare good day before you get to March. It was really exciting.
The top 6 lost, right? All of the
Yes.
and a bunch in the top 10. Yes, it was a fun day of college basketball, and we will. Our Looks Like tournament is beginning to flourish, so I'm excited after reading some of the entries this weekend. We're looking forward to March Madness. But I wanted to ask you guys about another University of Miami related story, which is Trevante Citizen had put down 4 hats. Stugotz in front of him, and he's doing this thing that recruits do now when they get the attention on the day where they'll put on one of the hats, but they're not going there. And so he went through the 4 hats, and he took the University of Miami hat, put it on third, then put it down as if he wasn't going to the University of Miami. Mike, at that point, are you ignorant to what his choice is going to be? How do you feel at that point when a kid is toying with a recruit, this entire silly, stupid process of just recruiting a kid, making him famous for a day before he gets to college, and you can, use him for your success? Can you please tell me how you feel when the third University of Miami hat, he puts down LSU, he puts down Miami? Are you hurt? Are you bothered? Because he then came around and there was a 5th hat that was not on the table that was the University of Miami hat, and he tricked people, and his mom didn't know when to remove her jacket to reveal that she was wearing a University of Miami shirt. How do you feel about this whole charade?
You're going to hate this answer. I knew it was a charade. I knew he was coming.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you're an insider now?
Nothing's a surprise to you anymore?
No.
I mean, that stinks.
You're like Jimmy Walker.
I will say no. Coleman going to Jackson State because he did that during the Under Armour game. Or no, it was the All-American game. U.S. Army, whatever. All of a sudden, there was a hat on the table that, wait, where did Dion come from? And I was like, oh, shit. Miami felt pretty good about him, but everything else kind of went according to plan.
What's life without surprises? I mean, seriously.
I get plenty of surprises. Just, I knew where Citizen was going.
This is annoying, though.
It's a great name, by the way.
Well, great nickname, Citizen Kane.
Oh, wow.
It is a great nickname.
Oh, wow.
My
favorite
Mike's
player.
been skipping and saying it for 10 days because he knows where all the NID, all the name and likeness deals are.
Who do you think is the idea guy?
But you sounded like Jimmy Walker when he came on with us, Kid Dynamite, who is now doing these old people commercials. Makes me unbelievably sad. He's like hawking product at 5 a.m. for people who are 80 years old.
Well, he's old.
I know. I understand. Also dated Ann Coulter, and one of the strangest things
Still can't believe that.
In dating, I still can't believe that.
I think about that often.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you think often about Jimmy J.J. Walker dating Ann Coulter? But he came on with us one time, and he said, I can no longer laugh. I've heard everything funny. Did I just hear Bob's laugh in the other room? Jimmy J.J. Walker came on here and said nothing was funny. Now, he had Letterman and Leno writing for him.
Right.
But he can no longer find anything funny because he had heard all the funny things. That's how obnoxious you just sounded with Citizen Kane. I can't be surprised by anything. Does the shipping container care about these recruits turning these spectacles into this silliness? They deserve their moment, right? Like, what's the harm in having a little party?
They've worked so hard to get the opportunity to sit in front of a screen and choose a school the way they want to choose a school. No, I love those moments. I think those moments are great for those kids. They deserve them. I mean, they really do.
Stu, did your daughter have like a little like selection party? And if not, you should throw her one.
We did have a selection party. We had it for her. We had it for the entire team. And so, yeah, we did it. And she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it a lot. She didn't do like the whole hat thing. She committed to Northwestern. She knew where she wanted to go. She made the commitment. And so she didn't do, Syracuse, Carolina, Northwestern. She should have done that. I'm upset that she didn't do it.
Yeah. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Nah, just pick a hat and let's go.
Yeah.
We don't have time
A bit
for this.
much,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Roy.
Come
Do
on.
it on the field.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. We got other recruits that we need to commit.
Do it on the field.
Do it on the field. I want to see it. Let's go.
Oh, so they should show up to like the first game of the season and have like 4 different helmets and then do the commitment on the field. That's what you're saying?
No, I think we should know nothing about recruiting, and then we show up on the first game of the season and go, oh, hey, the guy from St. Thomas showed up. Like, we know nothing about recruits. I don't get it. I really don't.
I'm always pro knowing nothing.
I am staring at Roy, and he has become the grizzled grandfather of the show. Pick a hat and let's go. It's something.
Rachel did that. Give her some credit, Roy.
I had enough, man. I don't have time for this, man.
Well done,
We need
yeah.
to play the games. We got other recruits to go.
Don't
Yeah.
watch it
Just pick a
then.
team.
No, don't even pick a team.
I don't watch it. How about that?
You know when we find out what school you went to? First game of the season.
Yeah,
We'll find
I
out
agree.
who's on what teams the first game of the season.
Yeah.
How fun would that be?
Oh, it'd be exciting.
Mike, how many days before Citizen Kane did you know about Citizen Kane?
The night before.
Annoying.
This is how
The
it's
night
gonna
before
be.
was when it was done.
This
You know
is-
the record this year?
This is how it's going to be now.
I hate
That's obnoxious.
it. It is.
You're just
I
going to.
didn't volunteer it.
I know you waited for your opening.
I didn't. Hey guys, I know where Citizen Kane is going. I
It's a
didn't
great nickname.
do that.
It
You
is.
wanted to.
You
though,
asked me a
didn't you?
specific question about a
Right.
specific recruit. There are recruits that I don't know about.
How
Not
long?
many.
But Mike, maybe like an hour or two. If we didn't bring it up, were you eventually going to tell us?
No,
You're a liar.
no, that was a very specific
Why
question.
would he tell us? He
Because
wouldn't tell-
everyone likes to be in the know, Dan.
No, he's not going to tell you because he did this whole thing with me with Tommy Reese where he texts you like weird gifts, but he doesn't want to actually tell you what he knows or is pretending to know because he claims he doesn't trust you, but really he's just trying to prove that he knows something and he feels good knowing things that other people don't know.
I don't know what the rules are. I don't want a paper trail.
So
my God.
put it on the poll.
I would be the worst with that type of information.
I mean, you are the worst.
That's why no one tells you
It
anything.
requires work,
Thanks.
though, to get that kind of information,
I ain't doing
and
that.
you're not
I mean,
willing to do it.
It's also unvettable, right? Like you could always just say after the fact, like, well, I heard that the day before.
Yeah, what do you think you're going to get like a FOIA, like a records request? You're not a public like employee. Like unless you get sued by someone and it
just
goes
has
to
to-
discovery, no
Sorry,
one's going
guys,
to
I
read your
I
messages.
just asked a very direct question, and I answered it as honestly as I could. I even prefaced it by saying, "You guys are going to hate this," and thank you. You confirmed that.
Stephen A. Smith says, and this is true of most good reporters, that he leaves unsaid more than he says. on background information. And I think Mike Ryan is now the insider, the college football insider.
Right. I just want to know things. The only time I go out
You
there
think
is,
Mike is college football Stephen A. Smith?
No, I'm not college football.
I think
Stephen A.
Mike-
Smith,
UN,
but
Stephen A.
I might be
Smith.
Miami Stephen A. Smith.
When
Miami.
it comes to the University of Miami football program, or maybe the athletic program in general, there are people who have been covering that sport for Cane Sport for a lifetime who don't know as much as Mike Ryan does right now about what's happening in that program.
I'm not. Look, the Jason Taylor news came out, but I knew that Jason Taylor thing 3 weeks ago. Did I tell any of you that? I might have told you,
No.
But no, I knew about it. It's not my business to make it people's business. The only time I venture out is when there's an agenda that specifically frames Miami a certain way. I did it with the Kendall Briles thing. I did it when people were calling Miami a mess. And then I got further into it because the more I reported with accuracy, the more my network grew.
I'm here, though, for Billy questioning this at every turn. I'm also here for Billy throughout the show today saying he knew something already before and testing the theory or the premise
Well,
that we can always go back and say, well, we knew that thing. I'd like to have, by the way, Trevante Citizen on just to ask him about Citizen Kane. Just it's the nickname and the work of art.
Well, I'm certainly not college football, Stephen A. Smith. I do, because of the Miami stuff, my network grew and I know a lot about national stuff, but when it comes to Miami, I don't need to prove myself, do I? I was pretty spectacularly right.
I think Billy is saying, though, that you do. I think you only prove yourself.
I mean, Google.
But you only prove yourself.
Google me.
With your latest story, which is.
What have you done for me lately,
that
Mike?
You knew that Citizen Kane was
very
coming
recently.
Here, that we can't prove. We can't prove that you actually knew it.
No, you can't. I mean, it's not a boast. That's why you just asked me a direct question. I knew this specific recruit was coming here.
The most surprising thing about this segment was Roy morphing into a grandfather right in front of my eyes.
I loved it.
He doesn't want recruits to have fun. He says, just pick a hat and get out of there, and then says, I don't have time for that, while not watching it, literally not having time for it, but making the argument on behalf of something that makes it sound like you're offended by this.
You know where you can have fun? On the field. Have fun on the field. Go and play.
No, you
play
can't
your game.
have fun
Let's
on
go.
the field, though.
Score a touchdown.
Score a touchdown.
Get an interception. Score a touchdown. Do what you got to do. Have fun on the field. But you're wasting my
The
time
only
with
place you
recruiting.
can have fun is off the field.
TFL. Yak.
Celebrate.
Fun with your yak. When did you become this? When did you become the guy walking off on Miami's Optimus Fields yelling at people and they quit having fun?
When I became a father. That's when.
It happens, man.
Oh, so you're seeing these kids dating Claire in 10 years.
God.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Oh,
That's even worse.
Oh, my God.
What are you doing, man? I mean,
But that's what just happened. That is what just happened. He's like, he would hate if Claire's boyfriend at 16 was doing this shit with the hats.
Oh, man. Oh, tears are coming out of my eyes. I don't want to think about this. Oh.
but Roy, if he was doing the thing with the hats, you would have a prize recruit on your hands. That would be exciting for Claire, you know?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, but again, I gotta defend my daughter over here. If I see him at my doorstep, something might happen.
A little talking to.
Yeah, a little talking to. Like, hey, man, you're having a little bit too many shenanigans right here with this recruiting, man.
Less shenanigans.
Yeah, less shenanigans. Do it on the field.
Give
Let's
me
go.
fewer shenanigans.
Fewer shenanigans.
Whittingham, are you somebody who cares about the Miami program enough to be hurt by the way the University of Miami basketball team lost this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's now getting to the point where the ACC is not rated enough that their tournament hopes are in peril. Where them losing that game, I saw in Joe Lunardi's thing, they were a 9 seed heading into the weekend, so they might just have enough give. But in any other season, winning 2/3 of your games in the ACC, you're in 7 seed, no problem. But this year, because the ACC is not viewed as strong, there's some real doubt there. So they're going to have to close the season with a probably decent tournament performance as well in order to get in.
They haven't had a loss that hurt more than that one, have they, this season, where you've just got
the two FSU ones kind of hurt. They lost by a combined 2 points.
In hindsight, the Alabama loss hurts because they were 10th in the country at the time. So they haven't played many ranked opponents. That's the problem. The ACC is down, to Whittingham's point.
I just watch when you get 15 steals in a game. It's not turnovers, Stugotz. I just kept watching them steal the ball and run with layups for fast breaks or dunks. And they're up 5, they're up 7, they're up 9, and then they miss free throws, and Virginia Tech, and they can't inbound the ball. They can't inbound the ball correctly. So they allow 2 threes on just epic failures at a time where that's a game you've got to have if you want to get into this tournament.
But it's just one of those weird years. Again, they've beaten Syracuse, Duke, North Carolina, and Louisville, and it might not be enough because those teams just aren't good enough this year.
Louisville's terrible.
Yeah, bad.
And
North Carolina's not very good either.
Yeah.
And it hurts you. You're wounded. You carry it like as someone who cares about the program. Like how many of the local teams can do that to you? Because it doesn't feel like the Dolphins can do that to you anymore.
Well, you know, I still, when I care about like the Dolphins' mistakes, it still does that to me. But actually, Canes basketball doesn't do it like that. Like I hope that they make the tournament, and when I see the result, but like I didn't even build my Saturday around watching the game. Like I've watched soccer from sun up to sundown for 2 straight days. I've watched like 13 soccer games this weekend.
Have a weekend.
Let me ask you, too, about this as our local experts in this field. Can you tell me what it means with Russia, with Ukraine, that Abramovich, the Chelsea owner, steps down after 19 years?
He didn't step down. He stepped aside from managing the day-to-day operations, and he put the stewardship of the club in the hands of its charitable foundation, which is actually headed up by an American by the name of Bruce Buck. That wasn't until reports came out that the foundation was like, wait a second, what is this? We didn't agree to any of this. Hold on. We don't want to do any of this. That Roman Abramovich is a Russian oligarch. That is a complicated scenario regardless, because the Russian oligarchs, there's only like about 20 of them, and they control the vast majority of the wealth within Russia. And Putin has a relationship with the Russian oligarchs that basically your money is my money whenever I want it. So by being a Russian oligarch, you're already kind of implicated because you have to have interface with Vladimir Putin. The lengths of Roman Abramovich's relationship with Putin, there has been conjecture, there have been articles written on it. There hasn't been a single solitary convincing piece of intelligence or journalism that speaks to, with great clarity, the lengths of their relationship. And there was a nothing statement initially about Ukraine, which I found as a Chelsea fan, as someone that worked with Chelsea, never took direct dollars from Chelsea. I took it from an agency that represented Chelsea. But I've always wondered about the Russian oligarch tie into all of this. Roman Abramovich, by his deeds and charitable foundations, seems to be someone that is decent. But obviously, the initial statements left something to be desired. And I found it very disappointing. However, I am totally heartened by the most recent reports that have been confirmed by Israeli media and Ukrainian media that say Roman Abramovich is right now boots on the ground in Belarus leading peace talks. And Ukrainian media says he's the only person from the Russian contingent that has even responded to their calls. This is while Roman Abramovich's own daughter calls out against Vladimir Putin. There are family members within Ukraine. So now it's getting to the point, like, are we not seeing Roman Abramovich say what we want him to say because he is quite literally fighting for world peace right now, and he can't afford to say anything because the stakes are so high?
And the interesting from like the sports angle is he steps aside as the owner, and no one knows what that means. And there was a report over the weekend from Forbes that if the UK government sanctions Chelsea or sanctions him from owning Chelsea, he can call in a $1.5 billion loan against the club and essentially take the club out of business. That's and so that's why the Chelsea trustees are like, whoa, are we a front for someone who's going to bankrupt the club and someone who is deeply connected to the Russian government? Because basically, as Mike said, no one acquires the kind of wealth that Roman Abramovich has without doing some dirty stuff and without being the monopoly in an industry, which I think his was aluminum, if I remember correctly. Like, he owns industries in Russia, and you don't do that without significant help from the government.
Mm-hmm. I didn't tell you guys, we'll get to the story in a second if you want it, but I met a Russian oligarch a year ago. And have I not told you this story?
No, you did. You probably should not tell everyone this story.
Yep.
I'm going to tell everybody.
It's a dangerous game, Dano.
This story in a second. But before we get to that, is Abramovich the guy with a yacht so enormous that he couldn't dock it anywhere because no dock was large enough to house it? The one that had seats made of blue whale foreskin.
Yeah.
That's the same guy, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's since moved on from that. It's
Has he?
tricky. No, I think he moved on from that particular yacht.
Oh, okay.
And has
To a
new
bigger one?
No, I think
who could take that on? Who's the buyer on that yacht?
Please tell me who the buyer is on that yacht. And again, it was a yacht so large that it couldn't dock anywhere.
No, good captains can dock yachts anywhere, Dan. I'm telling you. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Below Deck. Captain Sandy can dock any yacht.
Did you see Jamel Hill on Below Deck?
Twice. Below Deck Met and I believe regular Below Deck.
Wow.
Didn't know she had so much money. Just going to say. Those are very expensive. Her and Michael Eaves.
Sanction insurance is kind of a red flag, no?
Like $200,000 for like a week on those yachts. That's a lot of money. Cruises are like $300. And now, you could get a deal on a cruise.
Yes, you can. I saw for $50,000 you could go on a cruise that is all over the place for months. Yes, that you can't get it
around the world.
Around the world in a year for 50 grand.
I was going to pitch it to Gary. I was going to try to do it, make a show, travel the world with Billy. How would that go? Poorly.
You were going to pitch it to Gary?
Yeah, Gary. Yeah, Gary. I want to do a travel show. Yeah.
Well, why Gary?
You guys in? I don't know. He just seems like the guy you pitch things to around here. No?
You're going to pitch it to Gary.
Yeah, Gary, I'm thinking of doing this travel show, or I'm going to go on the cruise for a year, show everybody the world, and then we'll make a travel show out of it. We'll do 2-3 seasons on this one trip around the world, right? We can even break it up into continents. If it goes well, we make 7 seasons. There's 7 continents, Dan. You surely know that. So we turn it into 7 seasons. One time I'm in Europe. One time I'm in the other continents. You know how it goes, right? And then we just sell it to Netflix or whatever, Apple TV, wherever it is that we're selling things to.
Apple TV would be good for you.
Yeah, wherever. Just sell it. The thing is Gary's going to have to kind of pay for my family to go as well, because I'm not going on a cruise for a year without my family.
But they're so cheap right now that because yes, the industry is hurting. Can you tell me, I just like to tell the people how cheaply they can see the world right now if they're willing to get on a cruise ship with the risk that you never know that it's not coming back. That it may just be
swallowing up cruise ships now? What's going on?
It's just going to circle. I mean, we all got scared by the same thing, right? It's only 2 years ago that I looked out my window and I saw a dozen cruise ships out there because we didn't have anywhere to put them. And there were people trying to get on land and we weren't allowing it. I think that's the problem right now with getting cruise ships.
I think people are going on cruises and they're coming back now. You can go on a weekend cruise for like $200 now, right here out of the port of Miami. I haven't done it, but that's what I hear. Oh, Coco Cay, I can't wait. Perfect day, Coco Cay. Stu's been there. He went there with Tony for his bachelor party.
I did. We had a great time. Oh, did Tony look good that day?
Not only has Roman Abramovich not gotten rid of his first yacht, he's added a second. That's also worth $500 million.
Solaris, right?
I thought he downsized. Was it Solaris?
Yeah.
That's off the coast of Spain right now. Has not been seized. Roman Abramovich hasn't been allowed to actually live in the UK for several years. And I've always been like, what's this about? And no one seems to be able to give me an answer.
Stop asking.
Right.
People that know, kind of.
Yeah.
It's a reason why they're not speaking.
Well, it's like anything. Russian oligarchs, they can't all speak for Vladimir Putin right now. I don't know why the Ukrainian invasion didn't do this for me, but I saw Vladimir Putin was wearing the same clothes for 4 consecutive days. I'm like, man, this guy's crazy. Russian oligarchs don't want to invade Ukraine. They don't want their wealth seized. These are the actions of a renegade, insane tyrant.
But I also read and heard that he might have just recorded all those video messages on the same day. Because when he said, oh, this is a warning, he then recorded we've invaded, here's what we're going to do. Like, it was all done in like an hour because he knew exactly what he was doing.
But you need 4 different suits if you're going to do it that way.
No, it's the Russian spy thing. Like, he's trying to like have us read into, well, was this the plan all along, or is he just wearing the same suit? What's going on there? Their whole thing is what's going on there.
It's not going according to plan. They just fired the head of their military, and they expected this thing to be over in 1 to 4 days. And the people of Ukraine have such resolve. They have fought back, and the saboteurs have not been able to take down the capital like they had planned. It's an incredible story what's going on right now. And there are talks now, which is great. And it might possibly be led by Chelsea's owner. I've got no idea.
Pulled up in one of his $500 million yachts.
Belarus is a shell country, essentially. They do all the bidding of Russia. So a lot of the military attacks into Ukraine are being staged out of Belarus. And according to reports, Roman Abramovich is there leading talks. I don't understand. He is a man of mystery in so many ways. In the last 4 days, I've heard everything from he's the worst of the oligarchs to he may be in line for a Nobel Peace Prize
all right.
now.
Well, see, you have placed a whole lot of intrigue around all of this, and I'm grateful for it. But neither one of you answered my question, even though Whittingham came close, of what it means, the act as it relates to this club that you guys covered that is one of the biggest in the world.
I am so happy I'm not doing that job this year.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how you talk about this.
You guys, so for those who don't know, they did, Whittingham and Mike were doing America's leading podcast on this team, and they were trying throughout to navigate all sorts of journalism conflicts as the club did not want them speaking honestly about much of anything, as all of it was
that's
conflicted.
not true. Well, not much of anything. When Super League came around, I was actually surprised with how much leeway they did, but I would have probably had to have stepped down from the podcast if I was doing the podcast this year, because I don't know how anyone talks about this, and you wouldn't really get answers from the club because the club itself has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, nobody, not even the most plugged-in reporter could tell you what that statement meant, what the idea of the Chelsea Foundation running the club means. Does that mean that the people who run the foundation are on the hook for $1.5 billion in loans? Or do they own the team? Has he given it up?
He had sanction insurance, the
right?
Way that J-Lo insures her rear end because it's so important. What? He has a Lloyd's of London on
Jessica,
sanctioning?
what did you just spit up there? What just happened?
J-Lo's rear end. I didn't expect that to come up in this conversation.
I didn't expect sanction insurance to come up.
I've just been trying to sit this one out because there's really a lot of information that I haven't seen get verified in a lot of places, and there's so much misinformation about this conflict that I don't want to be a part of it. And truly, I think you guys summed it up the best, which is that we don't really know what this means for Chelsea yet. All we know is Citizen Kane.
What's an oligarch?